Hi guys, so lovely to see you. Oh gosh, I did a gig yesterday.
How
No,
was
I
it?
did a gig on Sunday. I did a gig on Sunday, and
How
I know
was
that
it?
you. Oh, it was amazing. I mean, just it went so well, and it was a small place but beautiful new place called the Tap that's opened in Gerrards Cross, and it was just lovely. And some of my cousins drove for miles to see me, and cousins that I'd actually only just been in contact with as a result of me doing an ancestry thing, DNA thing, and they contacted me.
Wow.
So they all came, and I hadn't met them. Only one of them I'd met very briefly, and they all came with their kids and everything. It was just fabulous, and I so enjoyed it. And Seb and David Williams, Seb Pipe on sax and David Williams on keys. I mean, God, they are incredible musicians. So, you know, we just love playing together. It was just so fabulous. So we just hope that the next one, darlings, you can all be there.
We will be there. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there yesterday, but day before yesterday.
We don't know what day it is. And I have got some sad. I had an accident and I ran over something.
Oh, Debbie, this is tragic.
My phone.
Oh, couldn't be worse.
It was terrible.
My goodness.
It was terrible. I mean, to run over anything, but when you run over your phone, and then the screen is in about 17,000 different colours.
Oh my goodness.
And I thought, what am I going to do? How am I going to carry on? But thank God for Lauren, who works for Kira. Kira's in Sweden at the moment, and Lauren is her nanny, and she's now become my official carer.
God.
Yes, not caring for the kids because they're away, but caring for the mom.
Yes, exactly. So she had to go. I went, what are you doing? Okay, we've got a spare phone. We'll take your SIM card out. So,
have you managed to retrieve everything? Absolutely everything?
Not absolutely everything, but I would say probably 90%.
Oh, good. That's
good.
That's good. So, as long as the SIM works.
Photos and videos, have you managed to retrieve those? Because that's the thing that bothers me.
Yes, I have. Because I back everything up. Yeah, and Caddy, we have to speak to you because we've got to arrange your makeup session.
Oh yeah. I'm very anxious about it. Very anxious. Are you? Yeah, I am.
You don't need to be. You don't need to be. You don't need to be. So who is our guest today then, Dee?
Yes, Paddy. Who is it?
Well, we've got the amazing Kevin Devine, who seems to be everything. He's presenter, he's warm-up man, he's musician and singer, and he's got a really interesting life, and we can't wait to meet him. So, Kevin.
No, we can't. There's something so exciting and sexy about a Scottish accent, Kevin.
Oh, thank you so much, my darling. That's good. And you know, it's about, it must be about 32 years since I met you.
Where were we?
Ah, right. We were at the London Palladium.
Yeah.
We were watching Joseph, and I was sitting in front of you, and you were with David at the time. And we were watching, I can't remember if it was Jason or Philip Schofield.
It was Philip's, I think it was Philip. No, it was Jason. It was definitely Jason. Yeah.
Right, okay. So, and we had a lovely chat. And I always have followed, you know, and knew who you were at the time, and have followed you ever since then. So.
Oh, Kevin, that is so, I'll send you the 20 quid later.
No, inflation, it's 30 now.
It was 30.
It's gone up.
But honestly, it's just, there's something about being Scottish. You know Lewis MacLeod, obviously, and Lewis has been on the show quite a few times. But you know, the Scottish are passionate on it. We're Scottish. We can't really do that when you're from Surrey, can you? It doesn't really work.
Scottish.
Well, I can't remember any big battle movies, you know, like Brave Surrey or not instead of Braveheart or whatever. It just doesn't quite do the thing. Although, you know, having been born in Surrey myself, you know.
Were you?
Yeah, I was born in Guildford.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
We all talk like this in Guildford. Have you never been?
They do actually. Everybody talks like that in Guildford.
Yeah.
You never know.
I was born there. My parents were Scottish, and we moved back up to Scotland when I was about 10. So, and I had two accents. I had one for the house and one for school. And if I really slow down and I sort of can go back to what could have been my English accent, but it just doesn't feel right now. So you know, so I always go back into the Scottish vernacular.
Oh, great way to confuse
Oh, lovely.
people, isn't it? Really.
Oh God, Kevin, I've got to ask you. You were one of the first people, weren't you, to win a reality program? I mean, and I couldn't believe it. You queued for like 26 hours. Oh my God.
It was about that, and it was pure panic, because when That's Life, Adrian Mills said he was leaving the show, and they were going to have a massive open audition for presenters. Now, that had never happened before, you know, a big open audition like that. I think they did it in the theatre, but not for television. So I phoned up the show and I said, look, I want to come down from Scotland. Is there any way I can be guaranteed to be seen? And they said, absolutely not. If you're not in the first 3,000 or 4,000, that's tough, you know. So I jumped on, that was on the Sunday night. I phoned in the Monday. I jumped on the train down from Scotland on the Monday night, overnight. I got to the Hammersmith Pally on Wednesday morning, and there was no one there. And I was the very first person in the queue, purely by chance. And it was probably the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah, it was meant to be. Meant to be. But what did you do in 26 hours? I mean, did you eat? Did you have
very
food?
personal, Dee. Where did you have a wee-wee? That's what I want to know.
I was thinking more like food.
Funnily enough, there were lots of cafes around, you know, which we nipped in and out of, fed my face, you know, like you say. I went in and did my business and then came back out. But overnight, we literally had to sleep on the street. So they put barriers up around the Hammersmith Pally down the pathway, and you know, we were just all huddled up on the street. So it was like a mass project. And then of course all the cars started arriving in the morning, with the crew arriving, all the presenters. Nesta arrived, of course, and the atmosphere was just amazing. So, and there were lots of people singing and dancing and showing off their talents and doing impressions and things. And I stood there and felt the most untalented person in the whole queue. Because I thought, these guys are all, you know, I've no chance of winning this. But because I'd been first in the queue, it sort of nudged me forward a wee bit. And I was interviewed, and I was very naive. I thought because they pointed a camera at me, I was definitely going to be on television. I had never heard of the cutting room floor, you know. So, and I went home and I said, I think I'm going to be on the telly on Sunday night. So, but luckily enough, they kept me in. They kept that little interview in, and I managed to go through all the, you know, there were loads of sort of secondary audition things, and I managed to make it to the final. And like you say, Dee, it's the first time the public ever had the ability to use the phones to phone in. So, and back in the day, they didn't. It's not like now where you can pick up your phone and do, you know, apps online, do all this sort of thing. They only had 400 lines available to vote for everyone. So when the voting started on the Sunday night and they said, right, the lines are open, I tried phoning my number. I couldn't get through. And I couldn't get through for about half an hour. And I was panicking, because I then dialed everyone else's number and I managed to get through to vote for them. And I went, how come, I can't get through my number? Nobody can get through. And one of my friends went, Kev, that means people are voting for you.
Yeah.
I went,
oh, that's great.
That's exactly, I thought, that's interesting. And then, of course, you know, when I went down the following Wednesday to London to sort of, you know, find out. And funnily enough, when I got to Lime Grove, because that's where the show was based at the time, was BBC Lime Grove, and Esther had just parked her car, and she was coming out of the car, and I said, good morning. And, you know, being Esther, she had all her costume and everything on the hangers. You know, she says, Kev, could you just hold that for me for a minute? And I said, yeah, sure, come on. And she said, tell me something. How many times did you vote for yourself? Over the piece, you know, I said, well, in the 3 days that the line was open, I probably voted about 90 times. And she said, right, we'll need to take that off your total then. And I went, you know, I thought I'd really mucked up here. And I went, but I didn't realise there was a wee twinkle in her eye, right? We walked towards Lime Grove, and she said, you can't come up the stairs. You just need to wait here. Everyone waits here because the results are in, they're up on the board, you will know. I went, okay, fair enough. And we went to the Hammersmith Pally, and it wasn't like nowadays where they have the big studio audience, you know, and the winner is the final two are. It was very much just rolling the camera, and Esther said, right, you've all been winners. Nobody is a loser here. You've all had thousands and thousands of votes. The total number of votes cast was 331,383. And the winner with 117,284 was Mr. Kevin Devine. And now
that's great.
You've probably picked up already, I can blether. But see, at that point, I didn't know what to, because I never expected to win. I really didn't. Even at that point, I thought, so, and then I did sort of start to burst into tears because it was so overwhelming at the time, you know, because I thought, I can't believe this. I'd gone from being a caravan salesman in the morning to a presenter on That's Life. And it was just wonderful. And then we were thrown into a van along to the North End Road in Fulham, which some of you might know, because that's where we always used to do the Vox Pops. And very soon I was thrown out into the public and asking for advice, you know, what should I do? And everyone, I was wearing what I thought was a really trendy jumper, and everyone just slagged the jumper off right away. The public, you know, the public have they don't hold anything back, you know, so I thought, oh, your hair, you need to get your hair cut, you need to do this, you need to do. So I was like, okay. But it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
Oh, I'm with you all the way on that. I just think
great story. Isn't that just great? Just grim determination just shows you want something enough.
Because people
and
could
also
say that's just luck, but that wasn't luck. You were the one that got on the train, you were the first there. That's actually not luck. And I think people forget that.
Well, I was told later on by somebody who's a wee bit of a medium or whatever, and they said, that was your granny that was pushing you. She said she was just nudging you to say, right, come on, this is the door that you need to go through. Just nudge, nudge, nudge. Because I did on the Monday, I was trying to talk myself out of it. You know, that way you can do, you go, oh, what chance have you got? Why are you bothering to do this? You know, and something, as I say, it was like somebody just going, no, just a little nudge. No, you're going to do this. So I didn't think about it too much, and I just went. And
sometimes, Kevin, you know, sometimes when those things happen, that you took action. You didn't sit there. You know, some of these self-help books, so just imagine it. Yeah. You didn't. You just went right, because you've got to take action, haven't you? That's the most important thing. Is to take action and to get moving, and you did that.
Yeah, yes. And that was the thing. So I would say to anyone out there, you know, just keep knocking at the doors, because you never know which one will open. It might be, you know, it might be a small thing that then leads on to a bigger thing that leads on to something else. But for me, it was a massive doorway that opened, because as I say,
they do say that successful people never take no for an answer. So you knock at the door, and if they say no, you go back and say, well, should I do it this way? You just keep going until they say yes.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And sometimes I have to remind myself of that, because you start, as you get older and things, you go, oh, I can't be bothered doing that. Oh, well, actually, no, you should come on, Kev. And I give myself a wee talking to. And that's how, you know, I ended up doing the album and making music and things like that. So, but so it was a brilliant opportunity. And then to go on to a show that had, you know, at the time we were still doing about 12 to 14 million viewers a week. You know, I mean, everyone knows That's Life. We all grew up with it. It was the show to watch. It was the show to learn about all these great campaigns. You know, things like Ben Hardwick. Do you all remember Ben?
Yeah, little Ben.
The liver transplant thing. Because of his story, people started to find out they could donate organs. People didn't know that before this came along. And because of that, the number of donors just went through the roof. Absolutely overnight, through the roof. And you think about that sort of knock-on effect of how many countless lives have been saved because of that wee boy. So, and
I think what's weird about the UK is, though, because if this would have been in America, this program would never have stopped.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't understand why it stopped. Really,
I think after 21 years, I think the BBC felt it was getting a wee bit dated, and there was no matter what they tried to do to update it. But this is where I think they went wrong, because the BBC are always trying to appeal to younger viewers all the time. Younger viewers.
What about us? What about us?
Exactly. This is my point, because the younger viewers don't watch the BBC. They come to the BBC later on in life. It's like being a teenager. You go out and you find your thing. Then you come back when you're a wee bit more mature and go, oh, actually, things my parents did are actually quite all right. So there was probably a bit of that. And I think Esther maybe even wanted a wee change because it was a punishing schedule for, you know, for 8 months of the year. And Esther was in there. She was in there in the morning. She wrote the script. She worked so hard on that show because it was her baby, and she guided the show. She's got a brilliant journalistic brain, and she sees the story. You know, if you all came to her with research and things, she would sit down and go, right, okay, right, and she would just shape it and make it palatable for people. That was a great secret of That's Life. We made it palatable. We gave people a few laughs. We settled them in with a vox pop. So you could sit down with your cup of tea and your biscuits and do whatever and get ready. And then once we'd done that, we had what we called a half-hard story, which was serious, but not, you know, not the real gut-wrenching thing or whatever. So we would set it up with that. Then we would go and have some laughs. You know, people like Doc Cox or June Whitfield, Molly Sugden, they would all sit and do the funnies. And then we come back and say, right, you're settled in now. Now we're going to give you the medicine that, you know, the message that we're trying to put across tonight. And then once that was done, people would absorb that, and they would get thinking about, oh, maybe I should become a donor. Maybe I need to look around my house and maybe get some smoke alarms fitted or some carbon monoxide alarms done, or think about the car, getting the car's brakes checked, whatever we were doing at that time. And then we would come out with some funny stuff again. And it was like, okay. And that just sort of pulled you away so you could digest that and go on with it. It was like the laughs were like a digestive after dinner. You know, so it's like an after dinner mint that just, all right, that finishes the thing quite nicely. So
but is that the secret then to your varied career? Because I mean, you've been presenter, musician, warm-up man, and that program had everything. And it's as though your career has everything. And now you're going on and you've got this new single out. So what do you think? I mean, do you think you are all those things equally, presenter, musician, or is there one thing you prefer?
I'm a great believer in being in the moment, you know, because I'm a Tai Chi teacher as well. You're always told be in the moment. That's rather than thinking ahead or thinking back or being stuck. So That's Life. You're absolutely right, by the way. I used to do part of the warm up on That's Life, although it was more at the end of the show. I would just
warm
jump
down.
Yeah, the warm down. That's exactly it. So I would get the crowd sort of G'd up. And then I sort of fell into that, you know, when That's Life, because I'll be very honest, after, you know, for about 18 months after That's Life, I couldn't get any work. You know, nobody wanted to know, because there was a tiny wee stigma attached to the boys, as we called ourselves on the show. So, and because we were on That's Life, people sort of shut doors for a while. And that's why I ended up getting into warm up and things, because I love presenting. I absolutely love presenting. Give me an auto cue, give me some live stuff like this. I can blether, you know, and I ended up doing radio and things in Scotland, and I absolutely loved it. I loved sitting there by the microphone, just trying to connect with people, because I think that I read something online today actually from another presenter saying the key to it is to try and connect with people, not just to sit there and go, right, okay, that's my next question, and that, you know, and be like robotic. So it's about trying to sort of really connect with your audience and things, and making eye contact and listening to what people are saying. So I think I don't have a preference for what I do. I think I'm a performer. I think that's the real answer. I think my mother always used to say, we don't know where we got you from. You know, although my father was a great singer, he loved singing. So, and that's where I got my voice from. And he just had this natural confidence. He was a professional footballer. And my dad was one of those people that when he went up on stage, everyone just stopped and watched. He was just a great natural performer. And I sort of maybe have inherited that wee thing as well. You all know yourself that there's certain situations when you go in and somebody hands you a mic and you go, okay, hello. And you're there and you just do it. You know, so,
you know, Kevin, of all the men that we've had on this show, we have never succumbed to have a wonder bloke as one of our panelists. But I think that you could be a wonder bloke.
A wonder bloke.
I was just thinking the same.
Do you know something? That is a fantastic offer. Should we talk after?
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
Yes, because sometimes there is the four girls, and we've always said, no, we don't want a man. No, we don't want a man. No, but You know, I think we've fallen in love, all of us, haven't we?
Oh my
Absolutely,
God.
100%.
Say you says I don't want a man. That's a ridiculous thing to say.
No, I wasn't going to say you didn't
Very
want a man.
sexist.
I was going to say, Natalie, that you were very quiet.
I'm very quiet. I'm just fascinated with all this outgoing personality that you have, that you do something like Tai Chi. So how on earth did you get into that?
Well, the Tai Chi, it was several things. I had some back injuries. You know, I'd been playing football, never done anything about them. I was starting to get injuries and I couldn't loosen my back up. I couldn't do anything. And also, I'd always been bullied a bit at school. So, and through my adult life, there were a couple of things, situations, you know, just silly things where people were trying to confront me physically and I didn't know what to do. So my friend had always been doing some martial arts. They said, come along to the class. And I came along and it just grabbed me right away, because the thing about Tai Chi is it's what they call an internal art. It's not like karate, which is all, you know, very muscular. And this is why Tai Chi is so good for women, because it's self-defense, but all of these soft flowing movements allow you to sort of connect with somebody's energy, take it past them, and then you just return a little bit. It doesn't rely on muscles. So you can actually disable, you know, knock out, I'm trying not to use terms here, you know, you can take down people who are a lot bigger than yourself. And for women especially, it's fantastic. And
when you're in somewhere like Bangkok, you see every morning they're all in the parks, lots and lots and lots of, well, a lot of women and men too, but doing it, it's just a way of life, isn't it, over there?
And it becomes that, because see, once you start, sorry, I'll stand back a wee. I don't know if I can do this. So if you start doing, I'm having to squat down. So you start doing all these wonderful movements, and the softness of it becomes a moving meditation. So when you're breathing, you're connecting your breath, you're moving your body as one whole unit, and all of these little moves. So that's probably not the best way to show it, but all of these moves help lower your blood pressure. They can help with diabetes. They help oil your joints. They connect your body in a way, and the breath, so that although I can blather, I think you can already see that my speech has softened a bit just from doing these exercises, and it's a fantastic way. I know I get quite a few yoga students in who have done yoga for years. And the difference is yoga is very fixed postures, and yoga is wonderful. I've done yoga as well, and it's wonderful, but it's very, you know, they're very fixed postures. You have to hold your body in certain positions for a while. But with Tai Chi, it's flowing all the time. And it just has this wonderful effect on you, because if you're too sort of, you know, people get in their head a lot and they're worrying about things all the time and they're stressed, and it just draws that energy down and back into the body. And the funny thing about, they call it mindfulness, but mindfulness is actually about getting out of the mind and back into the body. So you have this softness that comes about in this connection with your energy, and you start to feel your energy between the palms of your hands, and you can guide it around your body and things. And it just becomes, and whatever your troubles were at the beginning of your session, they just don't feel so big, so overwhelming, and you feel connected to the ground. And it's an amazing practice, an absolutely amazing practice.
And does it make you more flexible? Because
Yes.
Flexibility is as important as fitness.
Yes. And a lot of you know, some of the postures, you stand on one leg for a little while, not a long time, but you have to sort of learn to balance. So, and especially for women, it's very good at battling osteoporosis, because you learn to sort of support your body, and it strengthens the bones. Some of the exercises, what we call Zhang exercises, help. You know, you're just standing there, but your natural body weight helps toughen the bones, if you like. It strengthens them. And
Natalie needs this, don't you, Natalie?
Yes. Now I've been told I've got to be careful. My bones are thinning. So yeah.
Really?
I did some Tai Chi a long time ago, but I had such a flighty brain. I was always, I don't know, I was down Kensington High Street buying something in my head, and the next minute I was in Sainsbury's, and I just couldn't. Come on, you're here at the moment. But I tried very hard to concentrate. I'm not very good at concentrating.
Do you know the thing was, Natalie, is because you were trying to concentrate. And when you're trying to concentrate, what these movements do, they eventually quieten that. We talk about this. That's the left side of your brain. That's your I can't remember, oblongata, medulla oblongata, whatever, where that little voice sits, the controller that sits and goes, well, you've still got the laundry to pick up, then you've got to do it. And that voice is just going. So when you're doing these exercises, it's also the same part of the brain that has to do these motor things. So you give it something to do, and eventually, just through practice, the wee voice softens a wee bit. And it's this, but the only way to get it is to just keep doing it. And it can feel really difficult at first when that voice is going, but wait a minute, we've got so much to do. And then just eventually just keep going, it's all right, I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm just going to keep breathing. And I'm going to breathe out as I let my hands go. And that is the practice that then just, it's like the wee child in you that wants to control everything. So what you do is you go, look, there's a lollipop, you go and sit there, and you just have the lollipop, and I'll do this, and we'll all be happy. And it's just, I've done it now for 22 years. As I say, and I teach a couple of classes every week. And I've got, it's actually quite a lot of women I've got in my class. So they're not along to learn the martial arts side of it. They just love doing these movements. And I think my oldest pupil's 7 to 8, and she's still going strong. She loves coming along to class.
How old is your youngest pupil? Because I can imagine this is useful for teenagers and anxiety.
Well, here's the thing. With teenagers, their energy is very, it's still bubbling, it's still forming, it's very difficult to get them to sort of soften. The youngest pupil I've had was probably in his early 20s back up in Scotland. And he then went off to travel the world feeling, a bit of energized and a bit of confidence, and thinking, well, if I'm backpacking around the world, at least I might be able to defend myself if anything naughty happens. And that's the other side of it as well. You can learn how to deal with situations like that. But I would say the average in the class is probably, I'd say they're in their early 60s.
Wow.
The average, early 60s. Because it's one of those things that people find, and because unless you do stick at it for 6 weeks, 3 months, it won't take hold. But then once it does take hold, it's fantastic. And
I think you're going to have to do Tai Chi with us. I quite fancy that. But you were saying the martial arts side. So what's the different side? What do you mean?
Well, all of these movements, right? All of these soft movements that you do are actually, it's like you're sparring with somebody. So this movement they call ward off right. So what in there, I've actually got somebody's arm, and I've got the wrist, and I'm doing what they split. So it's like I'm putting a lock on their arm. So all of these things, and this is what you teach, roll back, they call roll back. So I've got somebody's wrist there, I'm turning the wrist round, I'm taking their elbow, and I'm starting to throw them. So everything in the form has a movement and an application, as they call it. So if somebody comes round behind you and grabs somebody grabs you like that, you sink down and lift your hands, and it will break their sort of lock, and then you sink down, and then you can break away and take them down and do things. This, as I say, this is why it's so good for women, because it does not rely on physical strength. It's about using your whole body and sinking and using all these lovely movements to get yourself out of situations if somebody's getting a bit naughty. Because unfortunately, we do know that, that there are far too many times in life where men think they can actually take advantage of women physically. Not on. It's just not on. So these little things, just that little bit of confidence to go, no, that's not happening to me. And as soon as you show that you're not going to be weak and vulnerable, they'll then go, oh, because the people, let's face it, the men that do that are cowards and bullies. There's no way to do it. So, but as soon as you stand up to a bully, they usually back off a bit.
I was just thinking how spiritual you must be as well. Because aligning that sort of the sort of flow and the energy, you have to have a sort of a belief, don't you, in a sort of spiritual dimension. Absolutely. And I think that's amazing.
The thing is, it's not a religious thing. Spirit.
No.
It's not like one of the organized religions. It's based on what they call Taoism, which was an ancient Chinese belief system. It doesn't have a deity. It doesn't. They talk about the Tao as in being the energy. We might, some people might call it nature. Other people will call it God, whatever the name, you want to attribute it to. But it's that thing that connects us all, and those little energetic connections. And you know yourself, it's a bit like you can walk into a party and there's certain people you'll connect with right away because your vibration, because we're all vibrations, your vibration links at a certain level to other people. It's a very, on a very basic level, that's the attraction between men and women, to sort of form that. That's nature has sort of formed that. But you also have that thing where you just go, I really like that person. We're going to get on, and you don't know why. It's something in the smile or whatever. But what you're actually doing is you're pinging their energy. And when your energies are at the same sort of wavelength, you go, oh, that's okay. We can settle in here. We're going to get on fine. And it's when it's sometimes the other side of it is you'll go in and you'll go, oh, I don't know what it is about that person, but we're not going to, you just know. And women are so good at this. They are so good at this. They just, and my wife's always saying that. She says, oh, women understand other women. We can tell at a glance whether or not we're going to get on or whatever. And literally at a glance, guys are a bit more sort of, we sort of are a bit more blokey about things and try to find common ground. But women, she says, we just know, right? You'll never understand. We just know. So
True.
What did you come on this show to talk about originally?
Oh, it was actually my new single called "Searching for the Answers."
Oh, exactly. And it sounds like you do search all the time, and you're always sort of moving forward and evolving, aren't you?
I try to, because I think the other thing about I'm going back to Tai Chi. It's all about change, and it's about not being stuck in any moment. Your energy's always got, because you're reacting to the energy around you. And when you develop that ability to connect and go, right, okay, this is the situation now, let's deal with it and let's move on. And that's what it's, and sort of the single's a wee bit about that as well.
Incredible. Well, we're going to play the single.
I know searching for the right time for those answers buried deep down inside.
I mean, you know that I would never say this, girls, because they all know what I'm like. I mean, I hate any sort of meditation, yoga, all of that lot drives me mad because I'm always chatting here. But for some reason, this kind of appeals to me. I don't know why.
Me too.
Well, let's give it a go and we'll see how we go on. And then you can ask loads of questions about it, and I'll be very happy to try and help.
Oh, thank you, Kevin. And
It's
that's a whole
lovely
new.
talking to you. You have
Yeah.
a very nice vibration. We've enjoyed your
really have.
vibration.
We have. We should do no. So the next one is a Wonderbirds Tai Chi lesson.
I
Yes, we
agree.
can do that.
That's the
we can do that.
show.
Well, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, thank
And-
you.
And
Thank you.
tell your wife that she's trained you well.
She'll love hearing that. She will love hearing that.
We can tell a well-trained man, can't we, girls?
Oh, yes, we can.
I'll do my best, darlings. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Bye,
thank
darling.
you,
Lovely to
darling.
see you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
What
Oh,
a
my
lovely
goodness.
man.
Never
Yeah.
mind the Scottish accent. I'm just totally smitten, darling.
Oh, but he has a wife, Dee, but that's okay.
I know. Well, I can, a cat
dream.
between or a king.
Excuse me, there's something about the Scottish accent, isn't there? As well, Lewis has got that. Lewis MacLeod, it's the way they talk, the passion, they have that,
Yes.
don't they?
That's very good, Debbie, actually. That's good
Yeah.
Scottish.
Oh, well, yes, sometimes I think I might be able to do funny voices. What do you think?
Well, you never know, darling. You never know.
You don't know, do you, babes? Do you, babes?
Yes.
Well, what a wonderful show. I've
Oh,
really,
I love it.
That
I
was
love
I
it.
think to
fun.
sign up to Tai Chi. Are you going to come with me?
Oh, I'd
Yeah.
love to. I want to do this all the time now.
I
think-
know the flow
Yeah.
and vibration, because like you hear people like hippie people say, like hippie people like me actually say, the vibe man, but it is about vibration, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
But when
And
I met Caddy and when I met Natalie, I felt well, I fell in love with Caddy on first sight. Natalie, it took about 30 seconds longer, I think. She's going to get jealous now.
Oh, really? Did it take, for me, it was
oh,
Debbie. For me, it was instant when you teetered in those high heels and started bluthering. I
Yes.
thought, I'm in instant love. This is a good, fun person to be with.
Yes, it's
Oh.
people
Oh,
who
yes.
are warm and welcoming. And that
Yeah.
was, I mean, Debbie immediately, I'll give you a lift.
No, I
I know.
kidnapped her. Instant. You see, the thing is with Caddy is that when I met her, I kidnapped her.
yes,
I
you
did.
did. You did.
This is
I
no
remember
joke.
you telling
I
me.
said, "You're coming in my car now, and I want to talk to you, and you need to be on our show."
Absolutely. Oh God. And I think honestly, I adore all of you. I just think, Debbie is one of the most generous, loyal people I've ever met.
Thank you.
And
Your,
you two guys,
your money's in the post as well.
and you two guys, I haven't known you as long as I've known that, but you two guys are equally as amazing and gorgeous.
And we love you, Dee. We love
We
you. It's
love
it's a big love fest at the moment.
Yes, a loving. Yes.
A bit of a loving. Okay, guys,
And
we'll
Franny's
see you on Friday. See you on Friday.
You
See you
darling.
Friday.
Bye. Bye.